Aloha, I'm Linda Tellington-Jones, and I'm speaking to you from my home in Hawaii. I'm invited for this presentation for New Thought Center of Hawaii for their June 14th presentation. My subject I'm going to be talking to you about today is Tellington Tea Touch and the link to cellular wisdom, to that divine spark in every cell in your body. I have been blessed to develop a form of communication that has spread around the world. And in order to do so, I had to learn to trust my intuition. It took me a long time to find, actually quite a number of years, to find the definition for intuition. Because originally, when I looked it up, it was unlearned knowledge, which of course, that is this amazing possibility of connecting to all information that's in the quantum field. The definition that speaks to my heart, and I believe is a key to connecting with that divine spark within you, is the definition that intuition is the manifestation of divine consciousness within you. Understanding and receiving its messages will change your life and help you find your true path. In this time of this pandemic we're all involved in, it has changed our lives in a way that for many it's been horrific. And on the other hand, I have absolute trust in divine plan. And what I'm finding for myself and for so many I'm privileged to know, is this has been a time for us to go inside. And for me, that's particularly poignant because I have made this connection with Tellington Tea Touch, with this amazing intelligence in every cell in our body. Just to give you a little bit of background, the Tellington Tea Touch is a form of communication for the connection for you to have with your animals and with yourself. And the form that has spread around the world and is on 6 continents now, with people using this to connect heart to heart, cell to cell, and soul to soul with their animals, all animals, with horses and dogs and cats and farm animals and exotics. And the fact is, why I'm speaking with you here today, is because it's also a communication, a connection to ourselves. In this time that we're in, the fact is that we have an opportunity to be quiet and go within like we've never been able to do before. I have had the great fortune to have received messages from nature since the 1980s. And one message that I want to share with you that I believe refers actually specifically to our time here. It is a message that I received on the top of in the foothills around Boulder, Colorado, as sitting there waiting for the sun to come up. And it was on a day when Anna Wise was there as the director of the Boulder Institute of Biofeedback and measuring 15 of my students to check out their brain waves to see if we were indeed in what's called an awakened mind state, where we are connecting in with all our brain waves, with our beta brainwaves we need for logical thinking, our alpha brainwaves to connect us to from the logical to the intuitive, to the theta, where we connect directly with divine source, and with delta brainwaves. So I went up on the mountain to sit as the sun came up, and I had my open journal in my hand, and as the sun just peeked up over the mountain, I wrote, "Oh Atlantis, speak to me." Now you have to understand, I had no interest in Atlantis, so it was a great surprise, but I trust what I get. "Oh Atlantis, speak to me. I know it's time that I can see the past and future again as one. I hear the call. I'm ready now. We must all gather, come together again. The pod was scattered, each learning alone. Finally, we've got it. We've come together to clone, to strengthen our oneness, our knowingness too. Our bonds have weakened. We must learn anew who we are, together what we promised to do. So awaken, dear friends. Our family is strong. Come together again to strengthen this bond, to renew our promise, to spread the word, to join our voices so they can be heard above the cries of fear and death." And you can imagine, as I wrote this, what I was thinking. We're talking 1984. There were no cries of fear and death, but I trust what I get. And so I continued. It's like kneading bread and adding leaven to expand the knowing that this can be heaven. And this message that I have been getting over the years, from the wind, from the trees, from the stones, from the plants, this concept that this can be heaven simply means when we remember our connection with divine spirit and all that is. And what was particularly significant on that day is we did the testing, and it was really interesting because we do indeed, with each 1 1/4 circles, which I'm going to be guiding you through, what we're able to do, what happens is we activate both hemispheres of our brain, both the logical side, our left side, which is, we couldn't be here together watching this as we are on YouTube if we couldn't have the logical part of our brain activated. It's essential. And yet for many, it's been the primary, focus, because this right brain is what it takes to listen, to go within. And the right brain is responsible for our feeling, for our creativity, for our intuition, and for our compassion. And what we're seeing right now around the planet is this activation of compassion, this concept, caring for our brothers and sisters of other colors and other races. And our hearts have been opened in ways that haven't happened before. For all of the really, really tragic sides of this virus, that has happened. That connection of oneness. It was a dream that Sri Chinmoy had in 1987, grounded this dream of ever blossoming oneness, our connection for all races, colors, creeds, all countries, having a feeling of oneness, of being together. And this concept is something that I have found through this 1 1/4 circles, which is actually, that is a basic T-touch, Tellington T-touch. You can use it for reducing your own pain. This is for self-help. Reducing your own pain, for fear. When you are overcome with fear and possibly grief that many of us have felt at moments as we see what has been happening. And I mean, I've known it for a long time, but to actually have this opportunity to have millions around the world, countless people around the world caring about each other and stepping forward to say so has been amazing. This journey that I've been on to develop this form of communication, this 1.25 circles, has been a long journey. I had that through a astrological reading for my 30th birthday, and I'm 83 in 2 weeks. For my 30th birthday, I ordered a $5 astrological chart. It was said to be one of the first that was done by a computer. And in it said that I would develop a form of communication that would spread around the world. And in order to do so, I would have to trust my intuition. And that is exactly what has happened in the meantime. But I was looking for those milestones, and the milestones have been essential to the development of this work, so that you, just by applying very gently, just moving the skin, it's not going over it, it's moving the skin, that you can reduce your own pain in your body. And we have thousands of cases of this. Now, some of the milestones I want to share with you, because it will give you kind of a clue of how you can go inside and recognize that divine spark in every cell in your body. And how it came about, 1975, I enrolled in a 4-year study at the Humanistic Psychology Institute with Dr. Moshe Feldenkrais. I had the great honor and good fortune to be with him for 4 years, 4 summers. We had 12 weeks in the summers, and all winter we practiced and worked. And in the end of the first summer, he invited us to read several books. And one of them was a book called Man on His Nature by Sir Charles Sherrington, who was a Nobel Prize recipient. And one concept of Sir Charles Sherrington changed my life. And it was the concept that every cell in the body knows its function in the body. And I remember when I read that, I thought, wait a minute, when I don't yet know how to do this amazing Feldenkrais work, all because we'd seen Moshe just make miraculous changes in people in 20 minutes in their ability to move. And I thought, I just sit, cells, just all I have to do is remind this body, no matter what's going on, whether it's your own body or one of your animals, just remind this body of its potential for ideal function. Remember the perfection at the cellular level. So that was a clue, and I carried it for many years. And always looking for, okay, what are the next steps? And in 1983, after working as a Feldenkrais practitioner for 5 years with people and with their animals, but a lot with people too, I was working on a very difficult horse at a veterinary clinic in Delaware. And the head veterinarian owned this horse, and this was in the days when they didn't yet have all the wonderful complementary and alternative possibilities like acupuncture and cranial sacral work and osteopathy for horses. They didn't have it. So they could only x-ray from the knees and the hocks down, and they couldn't figure out why was this horse aggressive. They couldn't find anything wrong with her. She just really didn't want to be touched. And these are really good horse people. And so when I put my hands on her very quietly with this beautiful, just giving her a sense of herself in the Feldenkrais concept, she got really quiet. And her owner said to me, okay, Linda, like, what is your message? What is this energy you're using, or why is this horse not trying to bite or kick you? And intuitively, I said, don't worry what I'm doing. Just go up and put your hands on the shoulder of the horse and move the skin in a circle. And when I said that, I thought, okay, well, that's not part of what I've been doing, but I did trust. And I knew it was a connection that I was getting. And she went up and did that. And that horse got as quiet for her and as accepting of her, as trusting of her as this mare was for me. And in that moment, I thought, this is where I left the beautiful journey of the Feldenkrais work, and I went in the direction of following these 1 1/4 circles. And what we have discovered in the meantime, then it was not just a circle. It's actually moving the skin in lightly in 1 1/4 circle. And it took us many years to discover, wait a minute, that's not just a 1 1/4 circle. That's this magical, or called a golden spiral, that's in all of nature. It's everywhere. And when we did that, it's like a link to that, to something that's happening. And I say, because why was it? Why could we release fear or pain? It was always my question. I wanted to understand more. And in 2006, I had the great fortune to be invited to spend several hours with Dr. Fritz Albert Popp in his International Institute of Biophysics. And Dr. Popp is considered the ground and the father now of this biophysics, this concept of the light in the cells. And I had an experience that I shared with him, and I just did a few T-touches, like 3 T-touches on his shoulder. And I told him that I'd had the strange experience of working on a horse who'd been injured and didn't want to be touched. And I had this funny sense that there was less light in the cells. And you have to understand, I don't see things. I want to only be able to do what a child can do. But I did see that. And he said, Linda, that light in the cells represents the communication between the cells. And I find that when there's pain or fear, what I've discovered is that very gently I can gain the trust around that area by working all around it where it's safe. And you can do the same for you. And what happens, the light will change. The communication between the cells will change. I worked with him twice, and we did some other studies with him. But then in about 2010, Dr. Bruce Lipton came out with his book, Spontaneous Evolution. And he writes about the wonderful, the amazing intelligence of our cells, and the fact that the cells know what to do. It's this communication, this harmony that we have within. And spontaneous evolution is the concept that if we humans could find that trust and harmony, that communication between the cells, that we too could live on this planet in a place of peace. And so always looking for the milestones, looking for the keys, but wait a minute, I wanted to understand from the science, how is it that you can reduce your own pain or your fear with the circular 1 1/4, this spiral circle. And it's not connected, it's 1 1/4, and you stop consciously and then go to another place, a little bit other. So we have to stay really present when we do this. And I found the answer only in the last 2 years when I've been teaching these courses online in collaboration with my friends Sandy Rakowitz and Eleanor Silverstein. We've been teaching these online courses so that you can learn yourself to reduce your fear and pain. And in the process, a book that jumped into my hand, and that's how, if you have seen my book list, I'm blessed to have had a collection of just wisdoms from so many people that I just catch and I bring them all together in this big puzzle. So the book was my clue to what does that mean? How come we can reduce our own pain? And I'm going to show you in a few minutes some of the ways that you can actually do this. And it is a book called The Code for Authentic Living, Cellular Wisdom. And in this book, was written by Joan King, who was for 20 years, she taught at Tufts School of Medicine, and she has a PhD in neuroscience and psychology. She crossed the Rainbow Bridge 2 years ago, but she has left such a legacy behind her. And in this book, on the back, is the reason that she left the university, left her teaching as a professor, to coach people in the understanding of cellular wisdom and why that is so important. And it was a Hindu legend that actually made her give up her career in the School of Medicine. And it is that very legend I want to share with you, because it gave me the understanding of how it is we can have the possibility to reduce our own pain. And it's this legend that one time upon this planet, time unimaginable for us, every human being was a god. That means they had all the creative abilities of divine. And then mankind began to abuse that power to such a degree that Brahman called a big powwow of many of the heads, called them together to say, we have to take away this divine power. We have to hide it. And then they put their heads together and they said, wait a minute, okay, how can we take this away? How can we hide it? And one said, I know, we'll take it to the highest mountain and nobody will ever get there. They can't climb that high. No, Brahman said, no, mankind is very resourceful. It will be found. Then another said, I know, we'll take it to the bottom of the sea and we'll drop it there. No one will ever go there. Oh yes, said Brahman. Remember the amazing resourcefulness of human beings. And then another said, I know, we'll find the deepest cave on this planet and we'll dig deeper and put it there. No, mankind will find it. And so Brahman said, I know where we will find it. We will hide it inside. And humankind will never go inside to find it. And so, as the legend goes, man has been running up the mountains, climbing, into the earth and diving in the sea, always looking for something else. And yet it's inside. And when I read that, one of the things that's beautiful, when I read that, I said, I want to know, I'm sure there's something about that in the Bible. And I called a friend of mine, said, isn't there a saying in the Bible? It said something about, just reminded me from my childhood. And he said, yes, it's in the King James Version of the Bible, and it's in Luke chapter 17, verses 20 and 21, that the power of God is within you and outside of you. It is all that is. And that gave me this clue. And so what we have done with these circular touches, and I want to share with you, is one of the basic things that we can do when you are in a state of fear. And I imagine many of you, like I live in a state of gratitude. Every day I count my blessings. But there have been a couple of days when, boy, it was really hard when I felt what's happening to so many people. And I felt it in myself, and I wanted to feel it in myself. I don't want to shut that out, but it was overwhelming. And what I wrote down all of my blessings, and then I did something that I want to introduce to you, and that is the T-Touch Heart Hug. And what I found is that if you cup your hands, and I liked this concept of putting my heart in my hand, and then I put my hand here on my own body, on my own heart chakra here. And I send that love inside to that divine spark in every cell in my body. And it's very basic, simple, 1 1/4 circles in whichever direction you prefer. And you imagine the face of a clock. Imagining activates our right brain. We take it off the school wall and put it here. And 6 o'clock will always be toward the ground. 6, 9 over here, right shoulder, 12, chin, 3, left shoulder. From the looking at myself from the outside, and I just catch the skin lightly. However, it's easy for you. So I have a cup. I don't flatten the hand because I will tighten it'll be uncomfortable if I flatten my hand. Just 1 1/4 circles. Take a nice deep breath and breathe out through pursed lips. Take another one. Try the other direction. See if that is a little better for you. Now, you notice I'm smiling because, and that's a conscious smile. Now, and I smile because it activates the serotonin, the feel-good hormone. And I smile thinking of something for which I am so grateful. And what we have discovered after less than 2 or 3 minutes, what we have discovered is that instead of these looping thoughts, how many, do you have those looping thoughts? I mean, I think everybody I know does. You can't get them out of your head, and it goes around and around. And it's the limbic system, the emotional centers of our brain that, you know, are really activated from all of the fear that we're having around us now. And what we found is, like, deep breath, take it. And now think of like something for which you're very grateful. Send gratitude and love. And this time 1 1/4, and this time send that gratitude to every cell in our body. Every cell in your body. Fill your body with light and with gratitude. And one of the wonderful concepts on page 14 of this book by Joan King, The Code for Authentic Living, Cellular Wisdom, it's a quote that when we open ourselves to recognizing that divine spark in every cell in our body, because wait a minute, how do we think this body functions? We're a miracle. The blood flows, the lymph moves, we can speak, everything works. What else can that be except the divine spark, source consciousness in every cell in our body? And when we recognize that, and we dare to send love to that divine spark that is us, those 100 trillion cells that make up this vessel that holds our soul, something happens in our relationship with ourselves. And we can just help us to come to a place of peace within. So on page 14, Joan King wrote that when we open ourselves to source energy, we connect with cellular wisdom. For source energy is our link to the creative energies of the universe. And I love this concept that's in a little book called Uncommon Prayer by Ruth L. Miller. And it's written that the quantum field is a field of infinite possibility. And when we can achieve the stillness of the prayer state, which we can achieve when we still our minds with this 1 1/4 T-touch heart hug, that we too help to influence the forms that emerge out of this quantum field, which means we can talk to this divine within every cell in our body. And I just like to lead us on a very short journey. Close your eyes. Just imagine that we're all gathered in this wonderful, very inviting ancient forest. We're just there together. And I'd like you to imagine that you can hear the birds and feel a gentle wind and a perfect temperature all around you. Imagine, just paint a picture for yourselves of the flowers and the trees and the sun coming through the trees and butterflies and bees, and call in your animals, all of the animals around you, and call in the angelic realms. They're all here with us. And I'm going to invite you to just build for yourself in your imagination a place that you'd like to sit. It can be on a nice log or a stone, or you can bring something really comfortable. We're just all gathered there together. And I'd like you to hold up a mirror. And this is a magic mirror. It's a magic mirror so that you can see every cell, every light in this 100 trillion collection of cells. And just move that mirror around and see, what are the parts where there's light? What are the parts that you love about yourself? What are there areas where you're carrying pain or no, like old memories, old stuff that's gone on with you on your body where there's less light? It's like, interesting, it's dimmer. And just keep that image. Just hold that bit. Now, for a moment, we're going to imagine, we're going to hold up that mirror, and I'm just going to have you see your higher self. Look at the light in every cell in your body, that higher self source, that divine consciousness in that amazing collection of cellular wisdom in your whole 100 trillion cells. That's who you really are. Now, hold the mirror again for your own benefit, because you can just see, wait a minute, where are the places, you don't approve of yourself so much, or you're holding old pain or old fear, the lights are dim there. And just know that you can, with this 1 1/4 basic light contact T-touch spiral circle, giving gratitude and breathing and coming to that beautiful place of stillness after every spiral circle, and give thanks. Just send thanks to all parts of your body. And now just quietly smile at that divine self who you are while we're still here. Feel that. Feel this body of yours, of ours. This is the Bessel, the sacred Bessel for our soul. And when we come to it with gratitude, and we can use these links of this just amazing spiral circle to connect with that divine wisdom and release our pain and our fears. I want to thank you for being with me here. I want to thank New Thought Center of Hawaii for having me and being allowed to share this with you. And I invite you now, because we are not gathered together, we cannot pass this beautiful koa bowl around between us for our collection, but we would really appreciate if you just go to New Thought Center and you can make a donation from your heart. And I want to thank all of you for being here with me and allowing me to share this. And just know that that T touch, that second T in T touch, stands for trust. Connect with this divine spark in every cell in your body and come to that place of peace, of knowing we are all one. We are one with all that is. Aloha.